Is it possible to get better than 100% positive feedback on eBay? In a way, it is possible. I'm going to show you how. But first of all, let's talk about feedback in general. I recently did a video on eBay feedback and got some responses, mostly all positive. I appreciate the feedback, by the way. But someone said it doesn't matter. They don't leave feedback. eBay says that feedback does not affect your seller rating. And that is true. eBay sort of seems to dislike their whole feedback system these days. I think the reason that they do is because they don't like sellers calling and bothering support to get feedback changed whenever the feedback was unfair from the buyer. It's obviously a mistake. Obviously, it shouldn't have been left. Obviously, the buyer had great things to say, positive things in messages, and accidentally clicked negative. All those things, eBay, I believe, just got fed up with calls to support asking them to change their feedback. So they changed the whole way that they do feedback. They no longer let feedback count against you or for you when it comes to your seller rating. The seller rating is basically how high you rank in the search engine. In general, the higher you rank, the more sales you will get because you will be seen at the top higher and higher in more and more searches. And eBay says, we will not use feedback ever again as a factor in how we rank you in search engines. So they just don't want us sellers to worry about it. Well, we worry about it. We like good feedback if we deserve it. And guess what? eBay, you're the ones that created this feedback monster. There was no commerce website when eBay started that had the feedback system. eBay started it. eBay created this wonderful beast that allows buyers and sellers the free market to give each other feedback. Used to, sellers, we could even leave negative feedback for a buyer. That was interesting. eBay then disallowed that sometime before 2010. In a way, that makes sense. If a buyer pays you, the buyer's done his or her job. But you know as well as I do, buyers can really kind of jerks sometimes. And guess what? So can a lot of sellers. If you're ever on any reselling platforms like Facebook groups, other than ours, if you're on any Facebook groups that talk about reselling and eBay, there are a lot of jerky sellers out there. It is so easy to rise above the crowd when it comes to selling on eBay. And that's really what this video is all about. How can you be better than everyone else? It's pretty easy. First of all, listen to me. I've done this now for more than a quarter of a century. Since 1999, I've been a big active seller on eBay. And I'm telling you, your feedback is important, even though eBay says it's not. And guess what? eBay, and I love eBay. You hardly really never hear me bash eBay. Oh, I'll bash Amazon. Don't do reselling on Amazon if you want to sleep at night. They really hate you as a reseller. Amazon hates resellers, but eBay loves their resellers. But eBay doesn't always come down on our side. They can't do that, especially whenever evidence doesn't support doing that. But sometimes eBay, you wonder, hey, eBay, give me a little love here. I'm a good seller. Never caused you a problem. Why are you causing me a problem here when it was the buyer's fault? But overall, eBay is wonderful to its sellers. But I'm here to tell you feedback is critical. Maybe eBay no longer wants us to worry about it, but you should worry about it because your buyers look at your feedback. And the higher your feedback rating is, and the closer to 100% it is, and the more feedbacks you have, close to 100%, the better. Buyers trust you more than someone with low feedback or a lot of negative feedback. And I'm here to show you how, in a way, you can get better than 100% positive feedback in a way, but you want to do that. And eBay, you're kind of hypocritical because it seems like almost every time I do anything on your site, you're asking me for feedback. How did we do? Click these 5 stars. Let us know how we can improve. Well, eBay, if feedback's not important, why do you bug us at every action that we do, it seems, by popping up a feedback window that you want us to reply to? If feedback's not important, eBay, practice what you preach and stop bugging us for feedback. Your potential buyers are the first of 2 reasons why you need to take your feedback seriously. They will look at your feedback and they will judge how trustworthy you are as a seller. If you're new to eBay and most of your feedbacks are from buying things, that's fine. Buyers don't generally look or even know they can tell the difference between did you get your feedback by buying or selling? And really, it doesn't matter to them. They just want to know that you're not some scam artist with 0 feedback that opened an account to sell them 5 iPhones and then you're never going to ship the iPhone. So the first reason feedback is important, the better the feedback, buyers trust you more. The second reason is feedback is feedback. Feedback gives you a thermometer in a way of how you're doing as a seller. Feedback will tell you problem areas. Feedback will tell you areas that you're doing great. You need to use feedback. Read all of your feedbacks. And if you want to be a top seller on eBay, you need to start seeing some pretty amazing feedbacks left by your buyers. You don't want just positive feedback. You don't want just 5-star feedback. You can't get 6, 7, or 8-star feedback in spite of my graphic here, but you can sure get wonderful feedback by buyers who love you. And the more of that you get, the more you're doing right. If you just see feedback like, good job, item arrived, no problems, that's lousy feedback, even if it's all 100%. One, you're not getting any feedback other than you're nothing special as a seller. You're doing nothing to please customers. You're just doing your job. Don't just do your job, be better than that. There's a book that's really a pretty book called Be So Good They Can't Ignore You. Be so good they can't ignore you, meaning you need to be such a good seller and stand out from the crowd, which is pretty easy to do. Most sellers aren't very good. It's really easy to be better than 95% of all eBay sellers. And I want that for you. That's why this channel is here. Is this channel here for me to make a lot of money on YouTube? I haven't made a penny on YouTube. YouTube has not sent me one penny for this channel. But I just keep plugging away week after week, day after day. I want to help you. I love doing this. I love showing people how to win on eBay. And if you're winning, you're getting better than feedback that says, good seller, item arrived, no surprises, all the standard stuff that most sellers get. You should hate that feedback. You should get feedback that says, I really liked everything they did, except I do wish they had done one thing better. Even if that's positive feedback, that's very good feedback for you because maybe you need to work on that one area. So no other buyer will ever leave you feedback like that again. Buyers in the future are going to go, and she was especially good at on something that you were especially bad at earlier. Your feedback is for you to hear the pulse of your buyers, what they think of you. Now, before looking at your feedback, look at your seller level, your seller hub. Find this in your seller hub. Also go to eBay and click on account, and then go to seller dashboard, and you're going to look at your rating. Look at your seller rating for feedback on how eBay views you. You may or may not be a top-rated seller, but you should be striving towards that. Anytime that you sell something as a top-rated seller, eBay puts that badge on your listings so that buyers go, wow, she's better than all the other sellers I've looked at for this KitchenAid mixer that I'm trying to buy. Look at your seller level and check it regularly. Make sure you don't have any late shipments. Make sure you don't have any cases closed. If a buyer opens a case against you, resolve that. Don't let eBay step in because they will always resolve it against you if you do nothing. Sellers almost always can resolve cases in their favor. Even if it doesn't go the way they really want, even if we have to do a refund on an item that we probably shouldn't have had to do a refund on, as long as you handle the case, there will be no cases closed without seller resolution. You want a zero here. Cases closed without seller resolution. Whenever eBay has to rule against the seller, they don't like it, and that does hurt your search engine ranking. eBay doesn't want buyers to be disappointed by sellers. eBay wants sellers to take an active role in working out problems. That's what cases closed without seller resolution does. Tracking uploaded on time. Do you ship on time every single sale? You should. What if you miss one once in a while? You're bad. Don't do that. You made a promise to your buyer. I will ship this within 1 day. I will ship this within 3 days. And it's always a weekday, a business day, whenever the post office is open. Holidays don't count, so you often will get an extra day or 2 or 3 if it's a 3-day weekend to ship something. If you promise your seller you're going to ship within 2 days, do it. If you don't, you should be knocked down. You should have tracking uploaded on time to be under 100%. That should hurt your seller rating for a while. That should hurt your search engine for a while. You broke a promise to a buyer. eBay doesn't like that. You shouldn't like that. Monitor this carefully, and if any number ever goes bad, if you end up with anything over 0.00 on defect rate or late shipments or closed without seller resolution, or if you end up with under 100% on tracking uploaded on time and validated, you've got work to do. You've got things to fix. So always check your seller levels regularly, every week at least. Now let's talk about feedback, and we're almost done. When you look at feedback, this is so funny because someone told me recently, I can't believe that you supposedly call yourself Advanced eBay and you don't even put a link to your eBay item. I've done that a lot on several videos, especially early on, and I often will show you 1 or 2 of our accounts. I have several seller accounts. This is what I call my personal account, but it's a seller account. It's a business account. I've had this the longest. It's the one I started with. It's got 11,259 feedback so far.
3 or 4 times, maybe.
I gotta pump those numbers up. Those are rookie numbers in this racket.
All positive. What do you think about that? Is that better than 100% feedback? No, technically, and I'm not trying to do clickbait, but in a way it is. How many sellers have you ever seen with over 11,000 feedbacks that were all positive? How many? I mean, probably none. That shows you something about me. It shows you what kind of seller I am. I please my customers. This is basically better than 100% feedback in a way. I know I'm kind of cheating here, but to have that high of feedback with no negatives, that says a lot about what I do. But let's look at the feedback itself that my buyers leave me. This is the type of thing I want you to look for. Just happens, the first one, wonderful sellers. This was like I took an offer of maybe 14 on this coffee mug. It's just a coffee mug. I just wrapped it and shipped it the way I wrap and ship everything, okay? But I've told you before to put a handwritten note. Doesn't have to be long. Put a handwritten note inside every package. Before I wrap something, I will print off an eBay packing slip and I'll write on the bottom of that, So probably a $15. It looks like I was asking $17.33. I probably took $14.99 or something, or made an offer for $14.99, and it sold. Just a coffee mug. And they wrote 4 lines of feedback. Why would they do that? It's because this is the type of seller I am, and I'm not bragging. Guess what? If you're listening to someone teach you how to do eBay and they can't show you these things, they can't show you a perfect seller level rating, they can't show you over 10,000 feedbacks that are positive. They can't show you actual feedbacks from their buyers that just go on and on with praise. If they can't do that, maybe you should be listening to someone else on eBay teach you how to do eBay. This is telling us, yeah, this is a positive feedback. Can I get better than a positive feedback for this one listing? No, but in a way, this is better than positive feedback because most buyer feedback, like this next one, thanks, would do business again. Great service. Well, that's okay. It's hard to find boring feedback whenever you're looking at my account. I know that sounds really haughty. I shouldn't say that, but why wouldn't you trust me? This is the stuff you need to know if you're going to listen to what I do. I'm a success on eBay, a tremendous success, and I've also traveled the country giving training on eBay at conferences all over. I really know what I'm doing. More than a quarter of a century of selling on eBay. So let me just find a decent one, and I'll come back to some of these. I can't. Okay, my wife will love it. Okay, that's fine. That doesn't really say anything about me. So that's a positive feedback. That's really nothing special towards the seller. As expected, no surprises. That's the type of feedback that generally comes from most sellers. I get these feedbacks that it's like I'm reading War and Peace. Wonderful sellers. Coffee mug was in great condition and they shipped it very carefully to ensure safe arrival. Maybe the best part was the wonderful note thanking me for my business and saying they hoped it brought me joy, which is what I said. This type of kindness and gratitude, seriously, never goes out of style, saving as a favorite seller. This is better than positive feedback. This is telling everyone who looks at it, these sellers really care. They're going to go out of their way. They're going to wrap things very well. They're going to be kind. They're going to be joyful. They're going to be uplifting. These are great sellers that you should look into. This is better than just a positive feedback. This, thanks, that's a positive feedback. This is better than a positive feedback. Go down just a few more. Even these boring ones are kind of, would do business again. Great service, and you can see they care a lot. That's great. That says a lot. Hardly any seller gets things like that. I'm not bragging. You just need to hear this. All right. Efficient, effective, and thoughtful service. That's kind. It's not outstanding feedback. It's positive feedback. Book arrived on time and in the advertised conditions. Seller was responsive, even left a lovely note. Thank you. You're going to find that handwritten note, people mention it all the time. Why? No one handwrites notes anymore. No one. I only write about 4 sentences. I've shown you before some of my notes on just handwrite at the bottom of the packing slip. Not a big deal, but no one handwrites notes anymore. That's why they stand out. That's why people are so impressed. It's like no one does this anymore. Waitresses learned a long time ago, if they write a happy face on the tick they leave at your table, they get a little bit higher tip. And if they write a note, they get an even higher tip. Notes personalize you. Notes tell people, I'm here too. We're doing our best. Notes remind people, you're not a huge corporation like Amazon who hates resellers. You're a family that's just trying to pay some bills. You're people behind this. You're not a huge business behind this. Even if you're a business, you're not like a corporation of 100 employees behind this or more. This reminds people they're dealing with people, and they're far less likely to leave you negative feedback if there's a problem, and they're far more likely to leave you really good feedback, what I am calling, and I think I'm being honest, much of my feedback is better than 100% feedback because it dives into what I'm all about, what my business is all about. Just a few more. From a fine seller, amazing piece of art, exquisitely wrapped. I would buy from this seller every day. Thank you for your wonderful note. We'll save and frame. Yeah, I bet they're going to frame my note. I bet. But that's nice of them. That's kind of funny. That's nice. The best of eBayers. Thank you. Here. Okay, this was a dread. Now, this was a large piece. How many feedbacks do you get like this? Now, in a year, I want you to have a lot of feedbacks like this one. I can't express how happy I am with this purchase. Item is as described, and the description was very, very detailed and clear. Well, that's because all my descriptions are very detailed and clear. How long are my descriptions? Just long enough to be detailed and clear, and no longer. About seller, it is another story of a new friendship between strangers who met on eBay. I didn't really get that with this lady, but she got it. She thinks we're now friends. Did you know that we received Christmas cards in the mail twice? Christmas cards from people we didn't really. Who is? Do you know who this is? I don't know that my wife. I don't know who this is. I'm going to my wife. I don't know who it is. Name's a little familiar. Maybe it's a buyer. And we go and look them up. And 2 buyers have sent us Christmas cards at 2 different Christmases. And all they did was like buy some, I don't know, $20 item. That's really a little weird and wonderful at the same time. Is that better than 100% positive feedback? It is. It's showing you, who maybe haven't gotten a Christmas card yet from your buyers, it's showing you you can be better. I know I can be better. I know you can be better. Let's continue. I have no words, she says, more than happy with communication, with attitude, with professional skills. Wow. I've purchased very big and very fragile porcelain figurines. How it was packed, heart, 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 smile, smile. It is something. Followed with unboxing and packing instruction. It is an amazing experience. I did write up a little how to unbox this item because it's pretty fragile, and I'd wrapped it a little extra more than I really maybe needed to. And I thought I should tell you the best way to unwrap this, and I did. And she loved it. Where did she live? Georgia. Not the state of Georgia, the country over there, wherever it used to be in Soviet Union, Georgia, that Georgia. This thing went thousands and thousands of miles. It was very fragile. And look at the feedback. Would I have gotten a negative feedback if that thing had arrived damaged? Of course, I would have deserved it. But I deserved this feedback. I deserve this because this is better than any positive feedback I've ever received before. This is better than 100% positive feedback. This is telling us, continue doing what you're doing. You need feedback like that. Adorable bunny, well packed for shipping. Sweet note from the seller. Price and shipping would definitely buy from the seller again. Again, the note. Seller meticulously packed my item. Let's see. This was a coat. This was like a fleece jacket. There's nothing fragile. I think we put it in a poly bag and then put it in a poly mailer or something. But meticulously packed my item. Item was new, as described. Shipped extremely fast. Made me an excellent deal. Thank you tremendously. Would do business again. That's great feedback. You should be getting more and more feedbacks like this the longer you're in business. Okay. Let me just look at one more page. I have so much respect for this seller. Okay, this was a $10 piano roll. You can see that line through that price of $9.99. I took an offer of like $7. For a $7 item, this seller is writing as much as that lady from Georgia that bought that figurine glass. I have so much respect for this seller. They made sure everything about my purchase was flawless. Excellent communication and care in what I bought. Very, very responsive and trustworthy. This was my second purchase from them, and I would highly recommend them to anyone thinking about buying from them. You're supporting good and honest people. 5-star rating all the way. Wow. Come on. That's better than positive feedback. No problems. 5-star. No, this is better. This is telling you that I am doing my job. This is the type of thing you should start to get so that you know you're doing your job. Wonderful item, spotless. So pleased to have it. Thank you, seller. And thank you for the note tucked in with it. I bought this for a grandson and we'll have it engraved soon. Love it when transactions are flawless. And this one certainly was. Great communication, shipped when they said they would. We always ship when we say we were. We're not going to lie. If we don't ship when we say we're going to ship, we are liars. We are bad business people. We are a bad family that shouldn't be in this business if we don't ship when we say, if we don't honor our word. Shipped when they said it would. You know why they said that? A lot of sellers never do. A lot of sellers never hit their shipping deadline. Or it's just haphazard. Maybe they will, maybe they won't. Packed very well. Item looked just like the listing. Great price for an awesome collectible. Okay, you get the idea. Just a couple that I know are on the third page. Folks like these set the standard. Good. I want to set the standard. If it's a good standard. What an absolute adorable Bible treasure. Wonderful, kind seller. My purchase was packaged and securely wrapped. Excellent pricing. Order as described. Great shipping. I'm so happy with my purchase. Words cannot describe. Even explain the joy I have in my heart. Wow. An $18 book. I mean, it was a Bible, and probably a buyer of a Bible is a kind person in general or wants to be or realizes the need to be. And so, but why would they go? I might have taken $15 for this. It's a $15 Bible. Look at this feedback. What an absolute adorable Bible treasure. Okay, let's go down. I'm so happy with my purchase. Words cannot explain the joy I have in my heart. Thank you so much for your kind words of encouragement. That's my note. I appreciate doing business with you, and I will be revisiting your storefront again. Thanks a bunch. Guess what? This tells me I'm doing a pretty good job. You need to be getting feedback that's better than just 100% feedback. You need to be getting feedback like this often, like a lot, like more than not. One last one, I promise. Okay, this was another probably $15 book. Some religious book. I think this is some sort of a Catholic book. I was asking $17 and a half. I probably took $15 or $14 for the book. Not a big deal. Look at what they say. I'm super happy with this book. I also appreciate, guess what? The kind letter that came with it. It wasn't even a letter. It was a packing slip that I wrote about 4 sentences on at the bottom. These are wonderful people, and I sincerely recommend buying from them. Thank you. Thank you, Theodo. Thank you. Man, I appreciate that. The packing and shipping were great. Thanks so much. Wow. I appreciate this buyer a lot for telling me that. This buyer is saying, keep it up. Whatever you're doing a good job. That's what you need. You need buyers who tell you that you're going above and beyond the call of duty. You do. You need better than 100% feedback. You need feedback that tells others, don't go anywhere else before you've checked this seller, because this seller is going to treat you right. That's the feedback I want you to start getting